So here we have Whitebeard, the Neo Maximum Whitebeard, and this one's releasing again this year, which is 2025. I got mine in 2018 when it first released, and I actually don't have it anymore, so I'm going to be using the clips and pictures from when I first unboxed him. And back then I wasn't measuring the boxes, I wasn't weighing them or the figures, so I don't have any of that information for this one. And I'll probably be doing some more videos like this where I go back and review figures that I never talked about in the first place. There's also some others I want to redo where I did already talk about them, but maybe the audio was bad or I just have different thoughts on the figure now. Alright, so here he comes out of the box. So yeah, this one's packaged in like 2 sections. First we have this one with only the coat inside of it. And then the main chunk with Whitebeard, his weapon, and the base. And I forgot there was a twist tie on this one, but yeah, it's there. And it looks like I ended up cutting mine off, and I don't remember why exactly. I guess I just couldn't get it off, because usually I will take the time to just untwist it all the way, like with Godzilla figures and stuff, but maybe sometimes they're just too stuck to get off. I can't remember exactly. I do remember with the Big Mom, it had a twist tie too, and I couldn't get that one off, so I also cut that one, so maybe it was the same thing with this. Okay, so here's all 5 of his pieces. First, we're going to be putting them onto the base. So it looks pretty nice. I like the paint job, I like the sculpt of it. Then at the top here, there's 2 metal pegs for the foot to go into. And the reason I had 2 of them was because there was a little problem with the first one I got. Right here where the weapon goes in, you can see there was this little piece of plastic that wasn't like fully cut out or smoothed out, and you can see how tightly the weapon fits in there. It takes a lot of force, so I didn't want it to get like scratched up. So I asked if I could get a replacement from Crunchyroll. They sent me another one, then I opened that one, I checked it, it was good, and then sometime during that I tried putting the weapon into the hand of the one with the little plastic thing, and it kind of snapped it off and it snapped the little plastic piece off, and then the weapon fit into that one too, so both ended up being fine, but yeah, I just sent that one back because even though that little piece broke off, I feel like it was still like kind of rough where it broke off, so it might have like scratched up the weapon over time as I took it in and out. So yeah, that's why some of these video clips and pictures have 2 Whitebeards. And now for the final piece, which is the coat. So it just lays on his back like that, it doesn't peg in anywhere, and you can see there's a little movement to it. You can see there's kind of a gap around his shoulder, which isn't a problem, but I kind of wanted mine to sit a little bit higher up, like you can see the little movement there. So something I would do when I had it was I would put the coat like right over the sash. I would rest it on top of the sash. And the sash is kind of like a hard plastic. It feels like if you bent it, put too much pressure on it, it probably would snap. It's not like a kind of soft, flexible material. So I'm not sure how good it would be to have the coat resting on there long term. You could probably get the same result by putting a stand or something under it, if you even care about the gap in the first place. And yeah, the coat itself is amazing. I do have a few little nitpicks though, like the blue color on the bottom of it, both on the front and the back. It's supposed to be like a reflection or something like that. I don't care what it is, I just don't really love that when they do that kind of look for these, but it's not the worst thing in the world on this one. And also the little lines making up the patterns on the inside of his coat, I think those would look a lot nicer if all those lines were colored in black, like with the WCF Whitebeard. I don't know, that's just a look I really like for the inside of his coat when they have all those lines colored in black. Even Volume 57 has them like that, but yeah, most Whitebeard figures just don't have the lines colored like that. And another choice they made that I don't really care for is how they did the blade. So Whitebeard's weapon has like these wavy little patterns in the blade, but for this figure they went with like a gradient, maybe a more realistic look, and it looks really well done, but I still would have preferred those wavy patterns. Now back to the coat. So there's a lot that I do love about the coat. I love the gold trim going all around it and then also on the loops, and on the other side he has these gold buttons with the Whitebeard Jolly Roger in them. And they're also right here on his cuffs too, so that's a little detail that I just really love about this one. And also the Jolly Roger on the back of the cape, the purple one, looks great too. And then one of my favorite parts is up here, the epaulets. I really love that like deep, rich red there. It just looks really nice and smooth. I remember I used to love staring at those when I did have this one. Another part I really like is the boots. Like they have this kind of blotchy mix of browns, and it was just really nice to look at in person. I think the picture does capture it pretty closely, but I feel like they looked even better in person. Now let's take a look at the body of this massive beast. Just look at those shoulders, that back is just huge. Yeah, they're covering like his whole body, even like right by his abs. He's got all these muscles going up there. Yeah, they are sculpted in an exaggerated way, but for this one, I don't really mind it too much. I mean, the obliques are pretty extreme looking, so I'd like that area more if they were toned down a bit. And I do feel like the tattoo is a little bit oversized on his back. I mean, it definitely is oversized, so I don't really like that. But I really like how you can see the shading in between each of the muscles, and then also going down his arms, how they have the veins there, and also on the chest too. Like, the veins are just really well done on this one. That was one of the things that really stood out to me. I remember when I first got this was all of those veins. And there is a seam on each of his arms, but at least they're kind of going with the shape of the muscles instead of being just like a straight line through the arm. And now let's take a look at the face. So I feel like the face isn't 100% there. It does look like Whitebeard, but when I'm looking at him from angles like this, it just looks kind of odd. And I've always thought that, like when I first got him, I was thinking, he looks kind of weird from these angles. I feel like the chin is too thin and pointy. I think it has something to do with the way it like curves out right there. You can see it like curving. And that just looks a little bit weird to me. Also, the mustache, I think the mustache is oversized on this one. But yeah, the chin. So if we look at the Mega WCF Whitebeard, we can see the chin. I think it looks great. Like, I think the whole face matches Volume 57 really closely. And I could look at it from the side, from the back, from the front. And I think it looks great, just like Whitebeard. But we can see, yeah, that the chin, it kind of goes back in a straight line to the jaw instead of like curving like the Portrait of Pirates one does. So I think that curve is part of what throws off the face for me. And I'm not trying to change anyone's opinion on this, so if you love the face, then that's great. You can enjoy it more than I can. And just because I point out things that I don't like about a figure, it doesn't mean that I hate it. I'm actually considering getting the re-release of this one, but I'll probably end up going for the new Maximum Law and Hancock instead. We'll see. And there was a time maybe a year or two ago where I was buying a lot of resins, so that's when I ended up getting rid of this one because I found a resin Whitebeard that had some aspects to it that I liked better than the Maximum Whitebeard. But there are also some things about the resin Whitebeard that I didn't like either, so in the end I have neither of them now, but it's not like I regret it. Maybe I'll buy the Maximum Whitebeard again, maybe I won't. Now here he is in my shelf, so yeah, the weapon takes up a good amount of space, but it can be adjusted to be like either sticking out further in the front or the back, though if you put it too far in either direction it would probably look bad. Or yeah, if you're like really tight on space, you can take it off entirely, and I think he looks fine without it from this angle. Now let's look at some size comparisons. So first we have him here with the Figuart Zero Leo Bazooka Luffy. And next with the King of Artists Boundman, this one is the Whole Cake Island one. They've made a few of them now of him from different arcs. And next is the Portrait of Pirates Hancock. And I don't have either of these anymore. I don't have Hancock or the Whitebeard. And then this Luffy. I really like this Luffy. This is from an older Ichiban Kuji set. And I used to display these two together sometimes. And next up we have the DXF Bon Clay. Then the Pop Maximum Boundman, the first one, and the Pop Maximum Jembe. King of Artists Katakuri, which is probably my favorite Katakuri figure. I really like this one and the Little Battle Record Collection one. And then here he is with an Ichiban Kuji Whitebeard, so this one's taller since he's standing straight up. And I think that's it for this one.